Hey, Shawna.
Hey! How are you?
There we go. I'm doing well. How are you?
Good.
Good. Can you see and hear okay?
Yes. Can you?
Awesome. Yeah, here I'm gonna join you. Uh, awesome. Thank you. Welcome and thank you for taking the time to visit and share some of what you do.
Yeah, this is fun. It's kind of weird because I don't know if you know that I used to host a podcast.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's called Stories Unbound, and I hosted it a couple years ago. But
Okay, I do remember.
weird
Yeah.
being on the it's weird being on the interviewee side because I would, you know.
Yeah.
Also, my face is showing, so that's weird.
I will never get over. Yes, I get it. I understand. Plus, but you have the experience. I don't know. This isn't like supposed to be any one thing besides. I just want to show cool people and the great work they're doing. So, but that also means it's not super formal, and so my questions are sometimes all over the place. Maybe you could help with that. I don't know.
It's okay if they're all over the place. That makes it more fun.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's. I appreciate you taking the time. We got people joining. Do you mind just giving us an introduction to yourself, where you're from, what you do, how we might know you, things like that?
Sure. So I'm Shawna Tenney. I live in Utah, and I've been illustrating for I think it's been almost 14 years now.
Wow.
Crazy.
Okay.
Oh, hi, Giuseppe. So I started out when my daughter was 1, and she's turning 15 this year.
Wow.
So, and I started out with an art rep for about 8 years. Then I got a literary agent and published my first book as a writer and an illustrator. And I don't have her anymore. And I've been kind of on my own for hi, Fred. I've been kind of on my own for about I don't know, for a while now. So
on your own, meaning no literary agent, no art representation.
Yeah.
You're doing it your own. Yeah.
I've been looking for another literary agent, but it's a competitive world, so.
Yeah.
And where you would know me from? Do you like the things I've done, or?
Sure. Yeah. Maybe something you've worked on, or yeah.
Okay. Well, my biggest accomplishment was my book that I wrote and illustrated, Brunhilde's Backwards Day.
Yeah.
But I've also done, I think I've illustrated like 22 books, but they've been like readers and religious publishers and like smaller publishers.
Yeah.
And then I've also done some board games. Like I just did this Bugs on Rugs.
That's so fun.
So that was kind of fun. And now I'm just trying to get more of my own stories published. So that's a little bit of what I've done.
That's awesome. That's a solid introduction. Thank you. Yeah, I'm curious. So you said you're looking to do more of your own stories. What I guess what does that mean exactly? Like, is there what are you after? Is there a certain like tone or a certain aesthetic you're after, or you know?
In my work.
Yeah.
Well, lately I've actually been changing my style up a bit. I was getting the comment from, as I was sending out my work to literary agents and such, I was getting the comment that they liked my stories, but they didn't like the finish of my illustrations. They thought they were a little bit too overworked. So
Okay.
I've been working a bit more on a little bit flatter style lately, and I've actually been enjoying it.
Yeah, I don't know if there we go. There's a newer one, newer piece. That's really fun. Yeah, and so when you're talking about a flatter style, maybe for those of us that aren't familiar, what does that mean? And so it's not overworked. How do you approach it differently?
Before I was doing more outlines and I was doing more shading.
Uh-huh.
So now I'm doing less outlined, and I'm trying to use more texture, so it's not smooth, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, these are great.
I do digital. Yes, I do. I like to sketch on the iPad, and then I like to finish it in Photoshop on my Cintiq. So.
That's interesting. So even same process when you were doing the more I don't know, not the flatter stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of the same process, but just trying to keep it less, I guess, shiny. I don't know what's a good way to describe it.
Yeah. No, that's good. It is always funny, like, to talk about pictures instead of showing the pictures and demonstrating, because you're translating. It's a different language.
Right.
Yeah. So, okay. So I'm curious, like, you've done, these games, which are really, really cool to see. And even just your character design is really fun. You do people and animals. Yeah, and they're both just fantastic, and they're really charming and endearing. You've probably heard things like that before.
Thank you.
Yeah, and then obviously your picture book work. You said you want to focus more on your own stories. Do you gravitate more towards stories rather than like just a standalone image, maybe?
Yeah, like I have these dummy books here. I have one that's called Pirates Don't Dance, and another one called Anonymous. And I've just been, I really like just telling the whole story. I mean, it's hard. Like you think you have your story down, and then you get it critiqued again, and there's like so much more you can change. But yeah, I think it's fun to tell the whole story, more than just. I like having my own personal stories, because I really got tired of illustrating other people's books, and that's why I really started doing that.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something I don't, or I think can take people a while to realize that, like, you can be telling your own stories, and that, I guess a lot of people are more qualified or have a lot more experience than they realize in telling stories, but it takes a little bit, like, you have to start writing and drawing and doing your own thing.
Yeah.
No one's going to ask you, hey, will you just make something up and let's see what happens?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've always had like the stories in me to tell.
Yeah.
Um, but I was, I always heard, oh, picture book writing is really hard, and it's one of the hardest kind of writings, and you have to know exactly how to do it and stuff.
Mm.
So I can't do it, you know.
Right.
But there's so many resources like SCBWI, and I've met so many great people through that, like just that help me and critique my stuff. So, um, and you've really been writing your whole life, because you write in school, and I think I always enjoyed English and writing in English.
Mm.
So
Yeah. No, that's a
yeah.
great point. Like, yeah, that's a really good point. And you can even like revisit some of those stories or just revise something you've even done and see what happens with it. Hey, I'm curious.
Yeah.
Maybe growing up, were you drawn to certain illustrators or illustration styles? Was there something you just loved as a kid?
Um, I loved fairy tales as a kid.
Yeah.
When I went to the library, I always went to the fairy tale section and got Mercer Mayer illustrated some really books like Beauty and the Beast and Sleeping Beauty, and
Yeah.
I always check those ones out. um, I was I was into I was into ballet as a kid,
Hmm.
and I danced till I was 19.
Oh, okay.
And I was just thinking, like, I think that like things we do as a kid and things we really are into and stuff, I think it like just influences the way we draw as adults. And it like I was just thinking there's a lot of like flowy lines and stuff in that's the kind of lines I like to draw, like kind of flowy lines. So
Yeah. Yeah.
how about
What?
you? Did you have a thing as a kid that you think influenced you? Like influences your art style?
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. Like, same as you, the library was, I mean, I lived for the library. And
Mm-hmm.
so, like, I remember bringing home stacks of, in, I don't know, first or second grade, like, I'd have, like, Dr. Seuss, and I'd have Roald Dahl and Quentin Blake books, and then I'd have, like, Picasso, or just, or even just, like, art anthologies, I guess, like, just collections, of movements or things like that. And I was just always fascinated by the fact that you can make like the same little shape with a line, but the meaning of that line changes when you use a brush, or when you use a colored brush, or when you use a pen or a pencil, or when it's this big versus this, like the meaning changes. And
Yeah.
that always fascinated me. So I don't know. I'm definitely drawn toward lines. I think there's just something so visceral and like primitive maybe about, like, it just we can all make lines on paper.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you can use a handful of lines to communicate something, to communicate meaning, like words are just lines on paper, like I find that endlessly fascinating.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's but
Yeah.
yeah, and fairy tales for sure. Like those really stood out to me as well. There's something about that marriage of like kind of these truths or realities that we know that are also married with these creatures and things that don't exist outside of that story.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know,
Yeah.
but I like what you said about like the flowing lines, because to me that just like evokes life, you know. Um, yeah, and that's really powerful. If you can look at an image that's alive, anyway, and your illustrations are definitely full of life, and you do that with the lines as well as the colors and facial expressions and the compositions, and I eat it all up. It's great.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. So, man, what is it? Do you mind sharing if there's something you're working on now? Is there the Pirates Can't Dance? Maybe something you could address without giving anything away, you know?
Yeah. So actually, I'm getting ready to go to a conference in Austin, SCBWI conference, because
cool.
my sister lives there, so it was a good excuse to go visit her.
Nice.
And I don't know, so I have the Anonymous and the Pirates Don't Dance. I've had the pirate book since last year, and I sent it out a ton, got a lot of rejections.
Okay.
But I kind of revised the main character's look, and I've revised the way I've been painting it. I have a couple of the pictures on my Instagram, but maybe you can see them here.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Is that one?
Yeah.
And then I also have my portfolio. I'm getting ready for the conference, so I have
Cool.
it here.
I love that. That's so great.
So yeah, it's just and I have those two stories. I have another one that I've been writing and trying to revise. So and then I have another one that I wrote like 2-3 years ago that just never really went anywhere, that I need to revise again.
Okay.
So so I'm trying to get these stories ready, because I'm hoping like the conference it's kind of motivating me to get all this stuff ready, because I want to start sending out to literary. So
yeah,
those are kind of my big things that I'm working on, because I want to just have so I sold Brunhilde in 2014, so it's been quite a while, and it came out in 2016. And then after that, I kind of went through like a famine period. Like my husband lost his job, and then I got like really bad carpal tunnel for a little while, and I think I just got like a lot of anxiety and stuff, and I kind of got really discouraged. But I think sending out my stuff and a lot and getting rejected, kind of having that famine period, I think it kind of helped me be more like patient and like with the whole process. Like, it's okay if I get this particular book sold right away, but I can just keep writing stories and have like a bunch of them and keep polishing them and adding something of a fish bites,
Right. Yeah.
I think it's kind of helped me learn that, if it doesn't sell right away, it's okay, and like just keep going and just love the process and don't like get discouraged along the way,
Yeah, I'm glad you said that. Like, I'm sure for a lot of people listening, like I wrote down a very truncated list of like some of the publishers you've worked with.
Oh yeah.
So like Sky Pony Press, I think they did Brunhilde, didn't they?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, big
Yeah.
McGraw-Hill, Deseret Books, Spider Magazine, Ladybug Magazine, Friend, Highlights Magazine. Like, those are huge. And so like I think it's really good for people to hear from a career illustrator, who I was talking with Sarah Kozuko the other day. I don't know if you saw that, but it was kind of brought up the fact that like maybe someone who's just starting out, if they have a let's say, a setback or something they perceive as a failure, it would be very easy to perceive that as the final failure, right?
Right.
But here you've worked with all these people, and you know, like, things are always changing. People are always looking for different things. Stories can be perfect, but the timing has to be right. And just, you know,
Right.
I think that's really good to hear from yourself, who's a talented, accomplished illustrator, and you're still looking for particular ways that you want to do it. And I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that you're working toward telling your stories rather than just like, I don't know, take on a job, any job, you know.
Right. And
Yeah.
I think it's, you know, I better plug in my, I better plug
Okay.
in my thing. I have a low battery.
Oh, no.
So like early in your career, I feel like for most people, you like just take on anything. And
Yeah.
but I've, you know, over time, I've just been like, okay, I'm just going to be patient and wait for the things that I really want to do, because it's also like a family thing. Like, I think when I started out, like, I would stay up all night, and you know, it was crazy. I didn't take care of myself, but I think it's important, like, to take care of yourself and your family and the things you need to do, right?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you said that. You studied at BYU, I think, right? You graduated BYU? Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you like, was it in illustration?
Yeah. Yeah, when I went, it was like, let's see, 2000. It's so long ago. I graduated in 2004.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
at least when I went, it was a really good program, and I learned I feel like I learned a lot, but like I've also learned so much after school. Like, it's interesting when you're in school, it feels like, oh no, I have to, like, you know, be 100% ready, and my style has to be 100%.
Yeah, yeah.
Be ready to go right now and compete with, I have to be ready to do my big picture book now. But I think over time you learn that it's always a process. It's always a learning process, which is a good thing to learn.
Yeah. No, that's did you always want to do picture books? It sounded like you went to school knowing, I want to make a picture book. Was that the plan?
Yeah, I feel like it was like, I don't know if I think I always, it's hard to remember.
Sure, yeah.
But I feel like I always wanted to be a children's book illustrator. I didn't really know how to get there at the first of my schooling.
Okay.
But I remember telling my professor, I want to do children's books. And he's like, there's nothing in your portfolio that actually looks like children's books.
Oh, interesting. So, okay.
Yeah. So I built that over time, but.
That's really interesting. Wow. Yeah.
Stuff. But it was like a lot of just realistic stuff, and no kids. I didn't know how to draw kids. In fact, like when I graduated from school, I still didn't have any kids in my portfolio. I did my BFA project. It was a fairy tale. It was the 12 Dancing Princesses, but I didn't have any kids, and I had to kind of figure out how to draw kids in a stylized, fun way. Yeah. I think I could draw like realistic kids from photographs, but I didn't know how to like stylize. So.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Yeah, that whole. I mean, we could talk like for 2 hours probably just about style and developing a look or an aesthetic. Yeah, and how you go from one approach to another and finding like what works and what's appropriate. And it's amazing that you can come out of, 4 years of college or your own education and see like that progression, that change.
Yeah. Where did you go to school?
Well, I went to UVU just up the road
Okay.
from you.
I actually went there too first,
Did you?
but it was only a 2-year college then.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I had thought of going to BYU, applying for the animation program. They have, they're really well known for animation, and
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad I went with illustration. I can do like a little bit of animation on the side, nothing fancy, but yeah, illustration I was drawn to just because the storytelling aspect, and it seems like there are more possibilities for like uses of illustration, maybe.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I was wondering about for you, like, if you've had any of your illustrations used in a way that like maybe surprised you, like, oh, yeah, I never thought I could use my picture for, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even like in animation, the concept art, I feel like that's, if you're an illustrator, you could do all that stuff too, because that's basically illustration stuff too.
Definitely.
So.
Yeah. Well, and that's just great because you can pull in character design, environment design. So many things.
Yeah, I've learned a lot
Oh,
about illustration from my animation friends.
Yeah.
Just like how to like making a better picture book. Just like the character design and the environment design, lighting, and all that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I got people coming in the bedroom. Do you keep a sketchbook or a notebook or some kind of place where you keep process as process, like undeveloped, unrefined ideas, things like that? Do you use anything like that?
Lately I did have a sketchbook for a while. I haven't been as good with it lately, but all my process stuff, and all the sketches and all that stuff I have on my iPad now.
Oh, cool.
So I just have like stacks of all the process stuff for each project. Some things can just be like a bunch of words if I'm trying to think of ideas and stuff. Or my I do a lot of my color studies in there. My
That's
iPad
great.
become my new. Like I just got my iPad Pro last year. Before that, I did all my storyboarding and sketches on paper, and then I'd scan them into the computer.
Right.
But the iPad has made it like so much faster. The process is so much easier because I would scan, like sometimes I would like draw things the wrong size or whatever, and then I have to scan it in, like fix it in the computer and stuff.
Yeah.
So it's easier just to do it all in one go.
Yeah, cuts out a lot of the intermediate steps, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. I love, I don't know about you, I'm a sucker for process, seeing how, like you're talking about color comps, like that might not even be something that someone who's starting out as an illustrator even knows exist,
Right.
And like I just love that, like, okay, you can think in terms of words to develop an idea, or colors or shapes, and I don't know, I think that's fascinating, and everyone has their own way, obviously.
Yeah, I think
Pro,
like becomes so important to me. Like you're right. Like when you start out, like it's just like it feels like it's just so much work to do, like the thumbnails and then the sketches, and if
you just want to draw the picture.
If one sketch doesn't work out, you don't want to draw another one, like.
Right. Yeah.
But like now it's just like it's so important to do that stuff for me. And the color study, I always have to do a color study, you know, and figure out the colors first. So yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Did you pick that up at school or in school?
Yeah, in school, and then I've, you know, different classes and things I've done after.
Yeah.
Always had a critique group and stuff, and we are always teaching each other stuff, so and inspiring each other, so that's great.
Good. Yeah. That's one thing I've noticed about we've only been able to talk a few times in person, and I always look forward to seeing what you're doing, and you're always really nice to talk with, and you always seem very engaged in, like you brought up SCBWI and getting together with friends and peers, and you share stuff online, and I love that there's just always a conversation going. Like it's not, and I don't know, my experience with illustration as a whole has been that most illustrators are willing to share. They're willing to, I don't know, it's a very, like everyone just wants to keep learning, and you're very good at being involved in that and sharing what you're learning and asking questions and picking things up, and that, I think that just helps everyone. So I just appreciate that.
Oh yeah, I think it's so, I don't know, I think it's so important not to be in a vacuum, like just like I love that you're doing this this thing where where we talk from, we're laying in bed,
Right.
and we get to, like, I don't know, I just think it's so important to just talk with other illustrators and, you know that you're not alone in this, and learn from each other. And yeah.
Do you do school visits, right?
Yeah, I haven't lately, but yeah.
Yeah.
I have done school.
What do you do for your visits, if you don't mind me asking, or what have you done that you've enjoyed?
I usually tell the kids kind of about my journey and how I got to be an illustrator, and how, you know, my process of making a book. But then I like to have the kids bring in paper, and then we've done a couple things for younger kids. I teach them like how you can make your own character. Like we do like a cat character, like have them like personalize it so it can have a personality and things that it likes to do and that kind of stuff.
Oh, fun. And
for older kids, it's been such a while since I've done it, but I don't know, it was doing some sort of story, you know, a process of starting a story with a character.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of fun to like get them involved in stuff and see, like, you know, see them getting excited. And there's always the kids that come up and, this is what I did, you know, like they're just excited to share it with me and tell me what they're doing and stuff. So yeah, it's fun to connect with the kids and, you know, share my story with them and see their reactions. And I think that's part of the best part of being a children's book illustrator, is connecting with the kids. Amen. I'm with you. Yeah. Well, and it's cool too, because it's one of those things where, at least in my case, maybe it was different for you. It was kind of something that I sought out. Like I kind of, you know, reached out to school. I did have some reach out to me, but in the beginning, a lot of them was me saying, I'd love to visit your class or your school and share some things and talk about, you know, and you're right. Like some people make a whole career out of just like public speaking engagements, you know, events. And that's fascinating.
but yeah, seeing kids light up over coming up with their own stuff, developing a character, starting a story. Yeah, that's like a kind of magic or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. For someone who might be watching that is wanting to get into doing picture books or writing and illustrating their own stories, do you have any suggestions or things that you found that work better than others that might save them some trouble getting started?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say joining the SCBWI is a really great thing. Going to conferences is so great. Like I'm going to this one in Austin. You just get to meet people, get to know the business. And yeah, I mean, that's probably the biggest thing is connecting with people because you're going to learn the most from that. And also just keep persevering because it's like even me who's been published, like I just have to, you know, I feel like I get down some days like, oh, I'm never going to get to that big publisher or whatever. But if you keep working, you're going to get there. So just hard work and perseverance and patience. Biggest thing.
All the easy things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Is there how can we get involved in what you're doing? Is there something new you're excited about that we can buy and get behind and support you? Where can we follow you?
Well, I did illustrate a board game, which is called Winner Winner Chicken Dinner, which is going to come out on Kickstarter this summer.
Oh, cool.
So you guys can watch for that.
I was wondering about that, yeah. Oops, it went away. There it is.
Yeah, that's it. So it's
That's
going to come out on Kickstarter soon.
Cool.
And just you can follow me on Instagram at Shawna JC Tenney. And I don't know what else you can buy Brunhilde's Backwards Day.
Yeah.
Amazon. That's about it. I don't have any other things, but those are some things. And I'd love to meet you on Instagram.
Yeah, and if I guess if you hurry and join SCBWI, they could go meet up with you at the conference, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, if you're in the Austin area.
Yeah.
Go to the SCBWI conference next week, and I'll meet you. Do you have any final things that you want to share, or you just want to let people know about? Last words. Keep drawing.
Yes, that's good. That's good. Well, at least you're not saying stop drawing like that. I mean, what's the point of yeah, keep drawing. Good.
Don't give up. Keep drawing.
I'm with you. Shawna, thank you so much for taking the time to share your talents with us and your time. I really appreciate it. And David is saying, Shawna, you rock. We've had some good comments. This has been fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. It was fun talking with you.